is waiting on fries. That you don't get it? You don't. What do you mean you don't get waiting on fries?
Hopefully the customer never hears waiting on fries, but all this time on the entree and it's perfectly executed and then you're like,
ready
fuck,
to go.
I forgot to fire the fries.
I just always use that when I forgot to put somebody's order in, and I was like, hey, I'm just waiting on the fries. It's gonna be 2 more minutes. Realistically, I come back 10 minutes with the food.
Exactly.
So we spent a lot of time, Jay, talking about dropping the third parties and how they're hurting everybody, and like we're off of it. And then
Because
we're
it's
sitting
better
here,
for the restaurants
better
if
for
you
the
like support
restaurants.
them directly and
you
don't
just
use
go-
these.
Heard.
right?
apps
And then
and
now
companies.
here we are about to start a show, and Jay's eating
Chowing down.
a roast beef club that he ordered on Uber Eats from the restaurant across the street.
Literally across the street.
I'm
Restaurant was
like-
about 75 feet away.
I'm in trouble?
No, you're not in trouble. It just shows the hypocrisy and double standards.
We're just judging you a little bit.
Well, here's the thing, right? We gotta do the show.
This is
And
true.
if I don't eat, I'm gonna get hangry. And if I get hangry, I'm gonna have a panic attack. And if I have a panic attack, nothing good is gonna happen for the rest of this day. You know what I'm talking about?
I get you. I get you.
I don't think I've ever been through a Jay panic attack.
I just want you to know that there's not enough time in the day as it is. We haven't figured out how to add more hours onto the clock, and therefore
I have just wake up earlier.
I just paid.
He wants to add more hours to the physical clock, not more
Yeah.
hours to the day.
Correct.
He
Well,
wants
you
to-
can add more hours to his personal clock by
wants to
starting
move-
the day earlier.
He wants to move to a 26-hour day.
no, I
day.
understand what he
Correct.
wants, but
So-
I also understand what he could do.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying, guys, is I just paid for the convenience of you guys and us sitting together and planning out the show faster instead of walking across the street that was 100 feet away, and they brought me my food instead, and I just paid a premium on it.
I
You
get
know,
it. I get it.
like you can buy things in this country if you want.
Oh yeah, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want.
Huh? So
I would have waited for you.
Yeah, I would have waited
For
to
the support of the
of the restaurant.
Anyways, as you,
Well, so
Sure.
here's what we're talking.
it looks
today,
like a
right?
solid roast beef club, though.
It does look like a pretty good sandwich.
I'm serious, guys. Get your eyes off my goddamn sandwich.
I don't want it. I managed my time properly. I ate before I got here.
Talk to me about what's happening in kitchen automation. You know.
Well, hopefully not too much because I don't want to lose my job.
So yeah, I was scouring the internet, looking at, as you know, I do from time to time, trying to see the trends in the industry to see stuff we might want to jump on, or
So you can stay hip and stay relevant.
yeah, I'm hip. I want to stay there. I don't want to miss out.
Exactly.
I feel like I'm on top of most of the trends though, because I'm here.
And you have to be.
I wake up every day. I'm around, so it's not often that I'll scour something on the internet and
be
catch
like,
something
"What
I
is this?"
haven't seen somewhere already.
Yeah.
But I do it, right? Because that's your
job.
That's your research, right? You gotta go through it. But I did pick up interestingly enough, I picked up the what's abbreviated as IoT, which I haven't.
Oh, I know. Internet of Things.
Welcome back to the conversation.
Which
Jack.
apparently Jay's been on top of, but that's a fairly new thing for me. That I would say, I've followed robotics outside of the restaurant industry for a while because I'm in firm belief that robots are going to take over the world.
It's coming.
If you watch that Boston Dynamics,
I was about to
stuff
say Boston Dynamics.
with
Yeah,
the
it's
robot
terrifying.
dogs and the soldiers. Anyway, we don't have to get into that, but watch out. But anyway, it came up talking about trends in the industry, etc. And IoT came up, and specifically talking about kitchen appliances and things that could do more in the kitchen.
So you're talking about a grill that's going to make burgers for you?
Talking about a robot that could do burgers, that could, in the early instances, you go to those trade shows a couple of years ago, you saw a pretty barbaric robot arm
That can flip an egg for you
that
or
was
something
pretty
like that.
stiff, and it would just be and then hard flip an egg. Sometimes it would land on the pan, sometimes it would land on the floor, type of deal.
It was primitive, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
primitive. But they had these theoretical robot servers, but they ran on tracks, right?
Yeah, yeah, I
you'd have
remember
to
that one.
install a track through the whole restaurant and whatever, which was obviously no one's gonna.
No, the TV it's not a tube. It's a flat screen, and it projects the image on the back onto the flat thing. Meanwhile, it's a 4 foot wide, 3 foot
box.
tall, and 3.5 foot deep TV, you know?
Right.
I do remember those.
Exactly that kind of. But actually, 5 or 6 years ago, when I was in Vegas, I saw a bar that was a robot bar. They had no bartenders. They just had robot arms, and they had all the bottles hanging off the ceiling of the bar.
How was the service? Did you get a drink?
The drink was phenomenal, actually.
Was it quick?
It was pretty quick outside of the line, like because there's so many people that want to try. It was more of a novelty thing. It wasn't it was like a bar inside the hotel, like walk-up bar. It wasn't like an atmosphere type place. I think it was the novelty of like, let a robot make you a drink. So you had to wait online for a little bit, but the drink was right on point, obviously, because you can obviously program these.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to overpour or miss the recipe or whatever. So the drink was pretty good. But
I think from the bar side, the best part of hearing that story is, you know, when somebody spills their drink, a lot of times they're like, "Oh, I spilled my drink," and like a lot of times, yeah, you'll replace it out of, you know, the kindness of our hearts instead of having to purchase a whole nother drink for $22, whatever the price is, right?
Yeah, but a robot's not going to do that.
But a robot's gonna have
Robot don't
zero
care.
feelings involved.
Zero empathy.
you don't care at all. Like, please reinsert your card.
Yeah. Please put card back in.
That'll be another $16, please.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a very kind of interesting idea of what is kind of becoming as technology gets better and as the brains keep working on making these forward moving machinery, can I say?
Yeah, you could call it machinery.
Yeah, but how do you feel after hearing that? Hearing that a robot made a solid drink, and you as a bartender, do you feel like threatened?
No,
feel like they're
man, you
coming
have
for
any idea how many bars are out there in the world? Like, let robots start taking over some of these bars. You're going to have people that have Android phones, and then you're going to have people that have Apple phones. You know, it doesn't really matter, I don't think.
So you're talking about a difference between robots, but everybody has a phone, so everybody's going to have one of these robots in the bar soon.
No, it's preference. Do you want to go get served by a robot, or do you want to have a casual conversation with a person? You know,
This is the point. I think the robot behind the bar is going to be a novelty for a lot longer than it is in the kitchen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And the big thing that the article was stating was the advancement of the robots being able to sense its environment, right? Because that was always the thing. It's just going to keep doing the same thing or whatever. But now these new robots are speaking to each other, and they can sense the temperature in the kitchen and like even the pace, maybe the pressure, or like orders coming in. Like, I don't know, and they start speaking
this
to each
plot
other.
already happened in Terminator 4.
And
So the robots are getting weeded. They're
they-
like, we got to work faster.
they've also become more fluid in their motions.
Yeah.
So their technique is better, right? With their
Their
you know, they
technique
can
is evolving.
Move a saute pan in a more fluid motion
Yeah.
that they couldn't do before, or that kind of stuff. So it went from smart fryers, which we've known for a while, like Applebee's, McDonald's, they all have smart. You know, you press a button, it knows exactly whatever.
Yeah.
That's been around for a while, and now we're talking about like a robot that can work the line. Right? So
I'm with it.
you're not replacing your high skilled chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But the lower skilled tasks like
The
a
easily
fry
more
cook
repeatable tasks.
or a simple saute cook might be replaced by robots sooner than later. The technology is super expensive, and that's what they're talking about. Like, you could buy one of these robots for like $30,000, $40,000. So it's very expensive. So you have to have the cash
Yeah.
to do so. But when you do the math,
Over time, it's going to
you're gonna pay a person what, like, 40 to low end, like entry kitchen level, you're what, 40 to 60,
Yeah.
depending on where you live and what restaurant it is, right? And you spend the robot one time $30,000, in 1 year's time you've already saved $10,000 on labor.
I was just literally thinking that as you were going into it, where I said to myself, man, I'd really like to see the spreadsheet to see the cost of the machinery and how many meals you have to put out and how long that would even take based upon your pace that you currently do in a restaurant, right? Like,
Right.
how long would it take you to break even on that machine?
Well, and theoretically, a machine could replace more than one employee.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't care.
You
if
can
it's,
make the machine work all day long. It doesn't have to be broken up in
lunch
shifts.
shift, dinner shift, whatever.
No
it's-
staff meal?
It's no staff meal, no breaks.
Could you imagine, like, peeling and prepping the potatoes, like, all night long as you shut down the restaurant? You've got, like, this crazy stockpile
they
in the
just-
back. Nobody ever has to do that again.
banging it out. Well, that'd be weird to look in. If you look in your cameras overnight, you just see a bunch of robots like working away. Bro, it would be weird, but yeah, I mean, this is definitely a future, and I think some of it was, we threw a little gas on the fire with all the labor shortages the last couple months.
Yeah, that's possible.
And people are looking like, hey, I can just
Maybe I
buy this
don't need you.
robot.
We're paying like truck drivers like $120,000 a year as like a sign-on guaranteed first-year salary just to get people into the door.
Yeah.
Because they need more drivers. And
Well, listen, truck drivers are the backbone of this country. We need truck drivers.
no,
We
I
do.
get it. I very much get it. I mean, Elon.
But I think when you talk about the automation conversation, I think truck drivers are the first ones to be pushed out of the way with those self-driving trucks, the electric trucks that are coming out. I think truck driving is the first career or whatever you want to call it that's going to be replaced by robots.
You know, we're going to see a lot of that in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
I fully agree. And what was it, Wolverine movie, where it's like automated trucks on the highway? Did you see that one?
Wolverine. I
No.
thought it was like iRobot.
No, there was like one of the Marvel movies, and it took place like kind of
yeah.
in the future. I'm not even a Marvel fan. Why do I know this? I don't know.
I don't know either.
No, but of course, and you look at the ability to autopilot these trucks in a nice streamlined highway. You know, think about I-95 up and down, how easy of a drive that is, kind of. You're just coasting on autopilot. And as long as we continue with the technology and we have less Teslas catching fire and smashing into poles because the lighting hit one camera incorrectly, then, like, yeah, we'll get to that level. But still, we're not self-driving cars either. They're saying, do not let your car self-drive without a hand on the wheel. What's the
Yeah.
fucking point? You know?
Well, just in case something happens.
Yeah, that's for me. I
Yo,
want
do
to
not
take a nap.
Do not let your kitchen fry machine change the oil on its own.
No, I think the fryers are safe to do that. They know how to do that by now.
Oh, okay. Fine.
So,
Got it.
but that, I mean, the big thing for me, right, is it begs the question. Obviously, you're going to have savings on labor. Theoretically, your consistency will be better because it's gonna produce the same product every time, right? As opposed to
An employee who maybe has a bad day or just messes something up. Yeah.
bad day or gets busy and starts rushing things. Like
Yeah.
the robot's not going to feel that pressure. It's just going to be like, no, it takes this much time. I have to flip this 7-8 times. You know, then it has to get to this temperature, and then I'm putting it on the plate. I don't care. I don't care how many fucking tickets are on the rail right now.
Yeah.
This is the way I'm going to do it. Where you know someone else might rush it,
Yeah.
burn something, you undercook something, and you get the the famous sendbacks that fuck everything up.
Robot wouldn't have sendbacks.
The sendbacks. Are
The robot gets a little thumb to
Yeah.
press in on the steak to see if it's mid-well or not.
No,
Well, it'll probably have
a thermometer.
Yeah, it'll probably have like a probe on it or something like the.
or a heat infrared thermometer, so they don't have to poke the meat and
Yeah,
ruin
and
it.
they just know automatic. So you see that, but what does it take away from? As we always talk about, from experience,
Yeah,
right?
from the craft of actually cooking a beautiful
Yeah.
steak.
So
like
there's-
the robot's not going to eat the steak, so it's not going to appreciate like building a beautiful crust on it and
Right.
getting every like facet of it perfect.
But it might be able to do that even still.
Yeah, if you
right?
set those perfect parameters into its programming,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it could achieve.
But what I'm saying is, a guest comes in,
Yeah.
right? Let's say you build an open kitchen where you can see in. Guests come in, they go out to eat. We've talked a lot of time about experience. I'm going to follow up this conversation with experience in about 10 seconds. But does the robot add or take away to the experience of the guests? Like when you walk into a restaurant, if you saw one chef, maybe two chefs primary positions, and then like three ancillary,
Robots.
or satellite robots doing like the other things.
Yeah.
Is that, I think initially you might be like, oh, cool, robots. But
Yeah,
then
it might be novelty to it.
at
but-
the end of it, does it start to feel like McDonald's, where everything's like kind of automated?
No, the funny thing too is like our perception though of what a robot is. Like if you walk into Bar Taco right now, like it's the reverse of what we're talking about. You're talking about guys in the back doing all the work, but now that there's no servers in the front, like you're just dealing with robots, right?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, that is a robot.
It's like
in
the front of house
itself, yeah.
version.
So yeah, I mean,
And does that take away from experience? Like I think so. I want to talk to somebody.
but I think you're right. But that's what I'm saying. Like as soon as you put a kiosk in front of somebody,
Yeah.
right, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna order it. Does that
It's just a different experience.
It's
at
a
that
different
point. Because I mean,
experience.
like you can't say it's a bad experience. Bar Taco's fucking busy.
does it take away your value added though? Right?
Not necessarily, because the time saved by dealing with the kiosk is more time interacting with the people you're there with.
You know
So
what?
that might improve your experience.
I don't
depending
want
on how
to
you
hang
wanna
out
look
with
at
the people that I'm sitting at the table with, to be honest with you. I want to have the experience from the outside world of people that have their own opinions. I already know what my friends are thinking, right? Like, I want to have these other interactions. Like, what are you about?
it.
What's
I get
your
that,
crazy
But I think
story?
that's just Jay being weird. Why would you go out with people you don't want to hang out with?
This is me being weird.
You're
you know?
talking about hanging out with the server at the restaurant? Or
Yeah, I'm just
He's
like,
I
hanging out
go
with
out
the
with a
people.
group of people to talk to other people.
You know?
Like my dad is like that, for instance. I've spoken to him about it.
But that your dad is doing it to improve his restaurant experience, not
Right.
because he doesn't enjoy the people he's around.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like all of the above. Nobody let me select answer D, which encompassed everything, you know?
So, but I wonder, for example, my father, right? If he went into a restaurant where now the cooks are robots, would he go, why am I paying, this price point for a burger? They don't even have employees.
I guess. Is the burger good, number one? And number two, like he's not normally going to interact with the kitchen, so it doesn't take away from that part of the experience.
That argument also is the melting pot, like standard guy that would come into the melting pot and be like, so let me get this straight. I'm paying this bill, but I'm cooking my own food?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what's happening, sir.
That's
the
a great
experience.
example of the experience.
Yeah.
Right?
So we'll see. We see where things go, and every single time one of these trade shows come up and all of a sudden the mechanics improve, you see more videos pop up, and I think there are definitely a few restaurants that are starting to go automation, and I forget the names, but I've seen these articles a few times now since we've actually brought this up, where they are actually switching some pieces of the kitchen, like making pizzas or something like that. Basic, kind of just get the dough going.
See, to
stretch it
me,
out.
that's another thing to me is so much feel.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want a pizza made by
Like
a
the
robot.
idea that a robot could flip pies is like, because that's one of those, right? Like a pizza man we've talked about
Yeah,
before.
like,
the
there's
pizza
no
man
way-
is so important to
There's
a
no way a
pizzeria.
robot can make a better pizza than that. There's no way. There's just no way.
Like
I mean, hey, we're all on our feels.
I've legit left a pizzeria because the pizza man retired and they got a new guy. And I was like, no, this pizza sucks now. I was like,
You didn't even give him a
where's
shot.
fucking Bruno? Bring him back.
You were just gone. Looking at my fridge, things pop up into my fridge, and kind of recently there were a bunch of these pre-prep meals showing up. And for the longest time, you think about what the hell are these meals? They've got a saran wrap sealing on the top of it. You gotta like peel it open, and then it's like put this in the micro for 1 minute and 45 seconds. You know these meals?
Those particular ones, no.
Like from Trader Joe's.
I don't fucking know.
I don't use a microwave.
Wherever they're from. Like they're
My
from the internet.
microwave is we keep bread in it.
No, they get here from the internet. People order these things on the internet, and then they arrive in a box that has like a dry ice pack or something in it to keep it nice and
You
cold.
mean like when you get steaks from NewYorkPrimeBeef.com?
Come.
With promo code fries15.
Hilarious. It's similar to that, yeah, correct. Except for these
Our
types
whole
of
meals,
things
not just raw meat.
are already, it's like a kid's Lunchable
Okay.
in the sense of how you crack it open, and then it has instructions on how to cook it. So it's like it's a pre-made meal, is what I'm saying.
Do you appreciate the experience that you have of microwaving your meal at home?
God, no. No, you feel like a piece of shit when you put one of these in your mouth. They're like a survival meal. And this is essentially something that is thriving in a lot of households because people don't have time to cook. Like, I just ordered Uber Eats, like, from 100 feet away
Despicable.
just so we could save a little bit of time.
Despicable.
Yeah, judge me all you want, but I don't have enough time in a day.
We're
So, like,
judging.
people that are buying these pre-made meals where they're actually made and all they have to do is wave them, it's like going to the frozen food aisle and getting a hungry man.
That's
And to
exactly
be
what it
honest
is.
with you, the food quality is not much better.
Oh, so then don't do that.
But they promote these things as like this high quality, healthy fitness meal. Keep it under 100 calories every meal. And people buy them to save the time. And do they buy them again? I don't really know.
Well, that's what
But-
we spend most of our money on, convenience.
This is true. But I mean,
correct.
is that really convenient though? If you're
It's just time.
Microwaving a
It's just time. Right?
crappy
Like,
meal?
It's there. You pop it in for a second. Whatever. It always baffled my mind. Like we got the Trader Joe's butternut squash mac and cheese because
Yeah.
that's in season right now.
Yeah.
Right, and that's kind of the same thing. It's in a tray with the film. You take it out, you put it in the oven.
Yeah.
Can't put it in the microwave though. You got to put it in the oven.
Right.
But I was like, oh, this is supposed to be a TV dinner, and then on it says, put in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes. And I'm like, this takes just so I can make butternut
make
squash
mac and
mac and
cheese.
cheese faster than this. But it's like,
Is it really? So then it comes down to, is it really that good? Is it delicious?
It's that good.
Okay.
That
See,
one-
That's what
that
I've
one-
heard. That's
that
what
one
I've heard
particular-
specifically about that
We
one.
bought it all. I
bought
sent
it all?
Nicole as soon as it came out. She got like 10 packages, put it in the freezer downstairs.
My God.
It's already gone.
But do these things that we're talking about, do these contribute into that world of off-premise dining? Like, is that part of that thing that, you keep hearing about? And
I
people
think
are-
it contributes to the choice, right? And so that's part of what the trend was talking about is that the restaurant industry has to switch gears now, and they're spending more time on the actual experience of the why do you come to the restaurant
specific restaurant,
versus take out or stay home or do whatever. So if the general population has changed their way of thinking, where it's just as good to get a Trader Joe's dinner and just heat it up at home, and you don't have to go anywhere, and you spend a third of what you would spend going out, right? Yeah, that weighs into your off-premise dining, because that takes away, maybe the gap is closer now between like going to a restaurant and just cooking at home,
Right.
or even one of these like pre-packaged dinners, like we talked about, like a Blue Apron type or something. They start building a family experience at home. We're like, hey, we're just going to do this, and we'll get this meal kit and we'll put it all together ourselves.
And we don't need to go out.
And we don't need to go out, and that's our experience, our own at home. So yeah, I mean, even something as simple as what you just talked about, or this Trader Joe's dinner, definitely plays into that off-premise thing, and it's definitely. It's not a direct fight for the restaurant industry, but it is.
It's something to consider at the very least.
It's a satellite takeaway, right? It's a little bit of your percentage of every reason to come in.
So then how do you think you go about getting that percentage back?
Especially if you fight in the default restaurant category, right? What we talked about, there's obviously high-end restaurants, which you're not going to get a high-end restaurant experience from Trader Joe's, right?
No.
So if you're either going to go there or you're not going to go there, that's a different decision.
Yeah.
Right? But if you're in the default restaurant category, which we're in, right? Which is, the default means, right? Like that. What do you want to do? Like, let's just go to X, right? Whatever that place is. It's your neighborhood spot that everybody just goes to.
Right.
That's the competition, because you're like, what do you want to do for dinner tonight? I don't know. Let's just go there. Now you're like, oh, why don't we have some of this,
Trader Joe's mac and cheese.
Trader Joe's mac and cheese, or why don't we do one of these like cooking things?
Yeah.
Where theoretically, an Applebee's type, which is their whole model is based on the default restaurant, right? Your neighborhood bar
and grill, yeah.
Right? So that Applebee's type of face, like, do you want to go to Applebee's, or do you want to say, hey, let's just get together and do one of these meal kits and watch the chef make it, and we'll make it with them. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
And we have more of a family experience than just sitting around a booth at Applebee's. So now you have to recreate, as Applebee's have to recreate, like, why do you come to Applebee's? So yeah, it is, right?
The trend shift towards experiences, though, is something that's been continuing forward, and it's a little snowball. And you can take note and notice just from things like Groupon. Like, people are looking for experiences. Maybe they don't use Groupon now as much as they did 5 years ago.
I was just going to ask, is Groupon still a thing?
Oh, Groupon definitely still exists.
It's probably a thing. It's not all the rage it was 5 years ago,
I got
though,
an ad
for
for
sure.
Groupon yesterday, actually.
So, I mean, these things, those companies started to thrive because people were looking for all these new experiences. And you started seeing all these pop-ups happen. And here's the puzzle parlor. And here's
Paint and sip.
do a flight. Yeah, paint and sip. Or, go skydiving inside the skydive dome.
Yeah, but there's no food in that. There's no food and drink involved with that.
I'm just referring to experiences, not necessarily food and drink. But like
Yeah, like they have the Grand Prix thing in Mount Kisco. You can go race go-karts, and then you got the
then
restaurant right there.
There you go.
So all I'm saying is that people want more value for their money too. So what you're saying, Just, is, hey, let's not just go sit around at the restaurant, and maybe restaurants could be losing a small amount of market share to people that are looking to increase bringing their families together by saying, hey, we're going to cook tonight. And I have to give Blue Apron props at the end of the day, because they do package their whole experience pretty well, as far as the sheets of paper, and they tell you how to do everything, and there's all these beautiful little photos, and it's like very friendly to just read and look at. And that, like, is it for me? Not necessarily. Would I do it?
Hard.
Like, would I do it? Yeah, fine, I would do it. I'm not going to be judged. I'm not a chef. Fuck you want from me? I would enjoy it with a glass of wine on the side if Babe was like, hey, do you want to, like, do a meal thing tonight? And I'd be like,
yeah.
Cool, all right, save me $20 and we don't have to go to the movies,
There you go.
So have you seen any different experiences out lately that restaurants or bars are doing that are changing the normal pace of, just serve and go type of deal?
A lot of places are playing it safe because pandemic, and we're just rolling with the punches. But there's definitely been a few places that do stand out and are doing things a little bit different again. Now that everyone has to check vaccines going into any New York City bar, you don't have to wear masks, and nobody's really worried too much about being close to each other. Apotec, Chinatown area. Mm-hmm. You go downstairs. It's usually this sexy little bar / speakeasy, and they actually had a big brass band in. and the horns and trumpets were all over the place. It actually wound up being a party, and they were covering all of these top 40 songs that everyone knows. So like it really kind of
So it's like a 5-piece band.
yeah, it was
Not
like
just a random guy.
no, it was
and
like
his
it was
guitar.
probably like 3-piece.
Okay.
I don't think it was 5, but also it was so crowded where I can't even see the band.
Okay.
But everyone was so excited, jumping up and down.
You're
I
talking
think I
about
was
horns,
even doing
like
a little dancing.
horn, like
Trumpets,
Yeah.
horns,
Yeah, that's definitely
all of the
different.
brass.
That is an experience.
And that was worthy of one, right? Like, what do you see, News?
So I would say, in terms of like a personal experience, not like a big experience like that, but when I went out to eat at Gramercy Tavern a couple months back, they had known that I worked at a cider bar, so when I got my tasting menu drink pairings, a couple of the drinks were like these local Hudson Valley ciders, which was off of the regular pairing menu, I guess, but it was something specific to me, and they were able to like personalize my experience that much better, which was kind of cool. Something I wasn't expecting for sure.
See, he was excited about the
I
experience.
think anytime we can personalize an experience, it goes a long way with people,
Yeah.
with the guests. Excuse me.
It just shows that they're making a little bit of an extra effort to make your experience that much better. Like
All
literally.
right, so let's build those experiences and keep those people in the restaurants.
And don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button because, you know, algorithms.